it's doable. Some people still, right? At 6.5 million tons, Pyramid Giza weighs the equivalent, right, weight of 65 Nimitz class aircraft carriers. At 100, they were 101,000 tons, right? We call it 100,000. Still doable over 20 years, 50 years, 100 years, right? 65 Nimitz class aircraft carriers, okay? Now, I hear that and I think that there's no way, right? But now, I've been saying hundreds of thousands of years, right? I easily believe somebody told me 2 million years. Easily. Now, which part of this image doesn't scream water damage? I'm not understanding. I really have to get some decent equipment. I'm not understanding how anybody cannot see what I see here, right? Now, that big freaking wear pattern, there is only one thing on this planet that wears like that, okay? There's only one thing on the planet that wears like that. This has to be looked at from a totally different perspective, because this has been submerged and this is long time water damage. Look at the wear pattern. Look at the pits. These things, what's missing here, right? All these bits, they're 2.5 ton stones. What you have here, I've got some other pictures I need to get developed, some close-ups. What you have here, right? This goes in by about 4 or 5 meters, right? The depth. It's out of the ballpark ancient. The top is the only smooth part. We say smooth compared to the rest of it. Now, there's been water that's come up and it has just stayed there. For how long would it take to make that water damage? Right? Now, again, how can anybody not see anything? The tallest tip was out of the water. They've all got the same wear pattern, all the way down. Water. They've all been submerged. It looks like the water's come in, it's stayed for who knows how long, and then it slowly receded. Now, we are talking, how long? They're on about 4,500 years. You've got to be kidding me, right? You have, it's like, I don't know. I am not even, there is no explanation. There is no explanation anywhere for how the pyramids were built, okay? Look at that. These are of a time you can't even imagine. This isn't 4,500 years old. They keep going on about rain damage. All of the damage is horizontal. All of the wear patterns, they keep going on about rain. What are you talking about rain? even the Sphinx, it's all horizontal wear patterns. Look. I can understand people's reasons, right, for maybe sticking to their guns and saying no. But we are talking out of the ballpark. Look, this isn't 4,500 years old. The Egyptians didn't shift 65 Nimitz class aircraft carriers worth of stone out of anywhere without an explanation for even the first stone. That is ancient. The people down there, there's 60-ton granite stones in there. Have people not seen the inside? This civilization can't do that. Look, people on about, oh, it's thieves went up and they scurried up to the top and they were taking stones off to build other stuff. You've got to be kidding me. That is water damage. It is the only logical explanation, right? It's the only logical explanation to fight it. People have got this habit of there is no other logical explanation. People say windwear. Windwear. That's not windwear, is it? They've all worn evenly, apart from the tip of Giza. Another way you look at this, got 65 Nimitz class aircraft carriers, okay? Now, there's 6,000 crew on each ship, right? So let's do it another way. You've got 6,000 crew. How about each crew shifts their own carrier, right? Each crew shifts their own carrier. Sounds like a fair go. So we've got 100,000 tons. We've got a crew of 6,000. Right? So we all shift our own share of the ship, and everybody on each carrier takes their share of the weight of the ship. Alexa, what's 100,000 divided by 6,000?
100,000 divided by 6,000 is approximately 16.6667.
So, what we have now is, we know that the equivalent weight of 65 Nimitz class aircraft carriers, that is what Giza weighed, right? They're on about, how many men? 20,000? Alexa, what's 6,000 multiplied by 65?
6,000 times 65 is 390,000.
Good save there at the end, eh? You've got 390,000 personnel split among 65 Nimitz class aircraft carriers. If each person takes their own weight, which it doesn't matter how you work it out, if there's 6.5 million tons to be shifted and there's X amount of people share the equivalent weight, unless somebody's not pulling properly, right? It works out to be 16.6 tons. So how on earth would each individual person have shifted 16.6 tons, right, on their own? Alexa, what's 16.6 divided by 2.5? Alexa, What's 16.6 divided by 2.5?
16.6 divided by 2.5 is 6.64.
So, each person has the responsibility of carrying 6.5 of those 2.5 ton stones. Right? Where do you start? That is the weight shared out equally amongst all of the crew. Right? 6.6 tons. Where do I start? Now, don't forget, we still have no explanation for how the first stone came out of the quarry, how it was quarried with copper hand tools. How do we go about this? 6.6 stones. Each 16.6 tons. Here you go. Start. How do you do it? How two of you do it, and you share your weight. 16.6 and 16.6, 33.2. So there's two of you, you've got 33.2 tons to shift if you're doing it together, right? There's 20 of you, you've got 322 tons to shift. This is split down evenly among each crew member, right? Now, it's impossible. It's impossible. And for the people that keep on and keep saying, no, I think they did it, you have no idea about how logistics works. If you still think that they did it, sit down, get a piece of paper, and with the tonnage, the distance and everything that had to be done, work it out and see if anywhere you go, oh, hang on, that means he would have had to carry this much, that distance. It is physically impossible, right? How would I carry even 1 ton? And don't forget, these things are blocks. They're not round, you can't push them. They're so difficult to carry, right? You do not have a single logical out with the Egyptians building the pyramids. There is not one logical out. There just is not, right? And you've got all of these images, all these pictures, right? And you cannot see. Oh, I'm not claiming that photo, by the way. That was just when I printed. It came out of my TikTok. I'm not plugging TikTok or anything. I'm not really. How can anybody see anything other than a catastrophic end to an ancient civilization, which is why there is no record of anything. It's why there's no record. Look at the Sphinx. You can see what's happened. This is a water planet. That's not earthquake damage or abrasive wind damage or Napoleon firing cannonballs. People actually go for that stuff. Napoleon firing cannonballs. Not cannibals, cannonballs. And this myth, they throw in this myth, don't they, that there were white stones or gold-plated stones. No, there weren't. That's just something that's been thrown in to mask the truth. It's just stone. The other megaliths strewn all over the planet. To not see water damage here, right? To see any other logical out, right? It's illogical. Everything points to water damage. You've got an impossible amount of tonnage for people, right? An impossible amount of tonnage. Or we are talking impossible. People that keep arguing this. No, I think they did it. But how? How? You haven't even got a logical solution for even the first stone. There's only one thing that's happened here, and it is way beyond our scope, our understanding of everything, but for a reason, right? Because this is obvious. These are obviously ancient. I keep saying this, 4,500. These things would have looked the same 4,500 years ago. It amazes me that anybody could see anything other than catastrophic water damage hundreds of thousands of years ago, and for that damage to have been that mark, that wear pattern. I mean, what are we talking here? Look at the patterns underneath. They've all got the same, as if this tip would have been left somehow, even if it was people vandalising, they scurried up like mice eating a block of cheese and just left the top bit and ate all the bottom bits. That is the only part of all of this that was above the level of the water. This, again, is about common sense. This isn't about what you've been told, because the numbers aren't adding up again. And with the amount of other lies that are going around, they have been submerged for an eternity. Look. Now look at this objectively, because to think that the Egyptians did this 4,500 years ago, right? And that this damage has been done in the last 4,500 years is not an intelligent thought. It just isn't. For those of you that say, no, it's you, is it really me? I see what is. I don't see what's expected of me to see, if you know what I mean. This is serious, long time, underwater water damage. Pits, it's all just perfect for water damage. So good looking without using an open mind. This is to be looked at with an open mind. How can anybody see anything else? Water damage, they say. Rain. And they're pointing at the little horizontal things, and you've got that, those grooves. You've got that. You've got that. This is the big picture. You've got that. It's not the little tiny pictures. Look. There was a time in the past where that peak was a haven for birds. There would have been birds everywhere, right? Because it would have been the only thing sticking out of the water for a long way. Slam dunk. There is no other logical explanation. You've got no other logical explanation for the weight, right? And to say that everyone was capable of carrying 16.6 tons. No, sorry, 16.6 tons. 6.6 of those stones. One person, if you put that on a block of sand, right, that was 50 meters long, and you only had copper hand tools, rope, wood, yada yada, right? You would not shift that block in your entire life. Not on your own you wouldn't. Not two of you wouldn't. And then when you do have two, all of a sudden it becomes 5 ton because there's 2 of you. So the other guy's got to carry his weight as well. There is no way around this. Logistically, it's impossible. Visually, it's obvious. There is no other explanation. A catastrophic end to a civilization, which is why there's no records of anything, right? This happened in a time that is hard to comprehend. Ice Ages, somebody says to me, oh, we have evidence that these things are 2.5 million years old. It wouldn't surprise me in the least, right? That's being objective with an open mind, understanding the scale of the damage that's been done here. That doesn't happen in 4,500 years, for crying out loud. Right, I do have some more pictures and a few more reasons why not. Have a great Saturday, peeps.